I'm Dan Korneff. I'm a producer, mixer, and the founder of Korneff Audio. I got an email from Matt at Shure, and it just said, we would love to work with you on making a plugin.
I'm Matt Engstrom. I work at Shure Incorporated. I am in charge of licensing. So a number of years ago, I wanted to bring back the Shure Level-Loc. It's a product that we discontinued in the 1970s. It was a protective device that kept things like high school auditorium PAs or broadcast television signals within acceptable limits.
It's a FET limiter, but the one thing that's unique about this device is that it's designed to work on microphone level. So you literally plug a microphone into this compressor and then that goes out to your PA system.
At the time, the box claimed to be transparent. We now know that this was not the case, but perhaps it was transparent by 60s standards. Then it went away for quite a long time, and then I noticed in the late 90s after starting at Shure that people were buying these things and using them. We watched eBay prices soar and then sort of disappear to the point where you can't really find Level-Locs because Shure only ever made a small amount of them before they were discontinued.
This unit hasn't accurately been captured yet, and I really want to preserve this unit for future generations. So once we knew that we were making a Level-Loc, there was one person we knew we had to get involved.
I'm Chad Blake. I'm a recording engineer and mixer. I usually would go to a music shop before we started a record, and I'd find a pedal, like a guitar pedal of some kind. They became sort of the box of the session, and I would use it a little bit on everything. I'd gone up to Northern California, and I was finishing up recording and mixing an album for Tom Waits called Bone Machine. Tom wanted to go to a swap meet, and I saw this little box, and I went over and took a look at it, and it was a Shure Level-Loc, and I had never seen or heard of a Level-Loc before. When we went back to the studio and I plugged it in, it just popped. One pop, and then no audio at all. And I broke it. And Tom said, "Don't worry, I know a guy." Who he called, and he came over and picked it up, and the next day he came back and said he didn't have the right parts, but he had parts enough to get it working. And then it's been on every record since. It just blew my mind, and it still continues to blow my mind when I use it. So I love him.
I didn't really know much about Shure, but visiting them at their headquarters, everything from start to finish, from the people to the product, is top-notch. One of the first things that Matt brought up to me was expanding the functionality of this box. The original unit, some of them don't even have volume knobs. You have very minimal control. So we wanted to add things to make this a more universal plugin for any source.
Dan doesn't make generic, everyday, 4-band parametric EQs or a straight-up digital compressor. Dan finds boxes that are tough to find, or even boxes that maybe never really existed in that way, and he finds ways to code them in a way that you get this sound out of it that you don't expect.
As a mixer, you know, you have a certain set of tools that you always use, and I always found myself wanting a little bit more, wanting something different, wanting to add something. There were multiple steps we took to create this plugin. You know, it all starts with component level modeling, and then some black box stuff on the transformers to give them a little extra mojo. And then getting Chad's ear on it really helped fine-tune the way this thing is supposed to sound.
I've used on all the drums that I recorded since. I would have the mics right in the kit, an inch away from a bass drum or snare drum. But I almost always would just sneak it into the kit as a flavor to sort of supercharge the kit, which I thought that that's what it did amazingly well. If I took it out, you'd go, "Oh my gosh, what happened?" I said, "Well, I took the Level-Loc out."
So with all these new features, it's not just your drum compressor anymore. I mean, don't get me wrong, it will be your drum compressor, but it's not only that. It can do so much more now. You can put it on your vocals. You can use it subtly on acoustic guitar. You can make it over the top and completely distorted. It can go anywhere now.
After he delivered the first sample, I became very, very happy because it's the first time something is an actual Level-Loc. We've seen it emulated in hardware. We've seen it emulated in software. Nothing we ever saw was a Level-Loc.
One of the challenges of modeling this box is that these units are old, the circuit is fussy, and there are so many idiosyncrasies that just aren't written in the schematic. So it was important for us to capture those nuances on how this thing actually functioned. This is also one of the first plugins where I started to add some parasitic parameters to the circuit. So there are things that happen in the circuit that may not be described exactly on a schematic. Adding little things in there, I think, really helped give it the most analog representation that I could. While we were working with Chad, it was great to be able to get access to his personal units. And it was very apparent right away that they all are slightly different, and those slight differences make a huge sonic impact on those boxes. So it was apparent that we needed to model all 3 of these boxes and give you access to them.
It's incredible to me to be able to pull up my old original Level-Loc and get those sounds. It's exciting for me after using them since 1990. I'm over the moon that this is happening.
The one thing I really enjoyed about this project was it's a true collaboration between Matt at Shure and Tchad and Korneff Audio. Everyone was so passionate about this project, and it really shows. I really couldn't have done it without these 2 guys.
It's very exciting to me to think that people who will learn about this and hear it in recordings, and then they'll have a chance to try it on their recordings. It adds certain character that you just can't find anywhere else. I think it's something that people are going to find very, very charming when they finally have a chance to play with it.
I'm so excited to have this plugin come out, because now we can put it in the hands of a whole new generation of producers that can discover what this thing was all about.